Hey guys, Andy and Spoken Label back in the house. Yes, bonus episode time. Yeah, I like the word bonus because a friend of ours that's with me today has been on reasonably recently with us. And she's just put a book out since the last time I spoke to her on Spoken Label. I knew it was coming, so we've agreed to get the fantastic Kate Jenkinson back onto us for today to do a bonus episode on her debut. Yes. It's took her a while. Debut poetry book, Unbroken. Now, obviously, Kate, I don't want to ask you tons of questions today because I want people to hear your poems. But
Yeah.
obviously, tell us about the brief history of Unbroken then.
Um, so I just broke up a little bit then, Andy.
Oh,
So I didn't hear what you.
and no problem. Right, yeah. People are wondering, yeah, the internet's playing up again. Typical. Right, yeah. I asked you then very briefly, Kate, can you tell us a little bit about the history of Unbroken, your
Oh,
debut book first? Just tell us where it all came from, so people know, first of all.
yeah, yeah. So, with it being my debut collection, the poems in here are from quite some time ago. Ones that I wanted to bring forward and publish, and ones that I've written very, very recently, mainly about my neurodiversity, the recent ones. And it's kind of like the awareness of uh, why work was so difficult for me to sustain employment and performance and that kind of thing, and a realization as to why that was. And through the spoken word community, a lot of these poems have been born either at workshops or having listened to other performers and thinking, that's inspired me to write something. So this is a gathering of poems from a while ago, but also quite recently as well.
Well put indeed. Now, people wondering today, that said, no more questions from me today. Kate's going to do 5 poems for us. Now, what we're going to do, as we always do when it's the writer, I will disappear for a couple of moments and I'll come straight back to them and Kate's finished off each one of her poems. And I will ask some hard-hitting questions by each poem.
Mm,
Probably
okay.
won't. I probably won't because I'll just take the piss much. Listen, Kate,
Like,
anyway, less of me, more of you. Give us your first poem today, seriously.
thanks, Andy. So, my debut poetry collection is split into 5 sections. So, what I've done is chosen one poem from each section. Um, and the first section is about what it was like to work and not realize I was neurodivergent. And this first one is called Resignation. Really? Begins your email with your opinion black on white, piercing my open heart with disrespectful frustration, spite with managerial spite. I'm smited by a claw-headed hammer hitting unseen nails, problems of your making in my mind. Really? I'm here again, where one person's view trumps all others. Dialogue dissolves unheard, like the ibuprofen I take for another migraine headache, a pounding headache from overthinking how to meet expectations unspoken, respond to feedback ungiven, react to criticism scattered liberally, and still be me. Imperceptibly, the emails change. And I think, now we're collaborating. Now we're getting on, not realizing the turn in phrase was you withdrawing your support. What I mistook for respect was the imminent threat of another bitter ending. When the day arrived and I was told to stop, I was angry with relief, exhausted from trying, close to my third collapse and too worn out for crying, from my stress-related efforts to adapt to you, when you never seemed to want to work with me. And again, I wonder how I got hooked 2 years ago by the shiny strapline that diversity fits in and everyone belongs. I swallowed that worm whole. Now I'm eviscerated, and that's what happens at the end. The toxic culture's poisonous. leave us with hearts beating arrhythmically. Never forget, most workplaces are responsibility traps hidden behind counterfeit emotions and smiling human faces.
Fantastic stuff, Kate, indeed that. Now, I said 40, I was talking to another poet today, it's my second podcast today, this one, and sheer
Yeah.
first poem was identical on that topic it was. But like
Yep.
I think it's terrifying the fact is like what workplace culture is like, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think society has changed a lot. Whether it's changed enough is another ballgame.
I'm hopeful that it is changing because voices like mine and others are being heard about what works and doesn't work for us. And I think social media has helped an awful lot, I think, in making that more known. So, yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
And poetry.
Agreed completely there with that. So agree with everything you said on that one, Kate.
Yeah.
Tremendous piece indeed. So great start.
Thank you.
Okay, let's do less of me, more of you. Back to you for
Okay.
poem number two.
So it felt appropriate that my next poem was called Moving On, because that's what I did quite often. Moving on. The smooth-handled brush warms to my touch. The swish and the swirl as we gather the dust, remnants of meals, vegetable peelings, my unwanted feelings. The sweep and the swash as I pile them together, the bits and the bobs, satisfying jobs, a heap of what was, swallowed by the dustpan, swiftly brushed off.
Brilliant. That's a lot shorter that one, the other piece then as well. So do you find, because I know I've heard you do both longer pieces and shorter pieces before now.
Yeah,
And do you find your approach changes when you're having to try to mix the styles like that sometimes?
it's a great question. I think sometimes because I'm a very much an emotional writer, if the emotion is intense and quite pure, like that one was, it's a short poem. But if it's sustained and it incorporates lots of other experiences and emotions, it's a longer poem. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it really depends on how I'm feeling and a bit of the subject matter as well.
Yeah, no, agree with you completely. So it's great. That was a night. It was a really good. It's two really good examples alone there of the various voices in your book there. So
Exactly. I tried to pick some variety in what I'm sharing today.
you've done a good job so far straight away.
Yay.
So right, let's move on. Back to you, Kate, for the halfway point, number three.
All right. So, following on with that diversity of voice, this is a prose poem. And I'm not very uh, known for my prose. There are some rhymes in it, though you'll find some, and it's quite a challenging topic. So I just want to do content warning if that's appropriate for um, suicide and parental abuse. So, um, having said that, I think it's quite a nice poem. It's called A Pocket in Time. Our friendship was a pocket in time from age 9 to 16. My pockets were deep and unfillable. Yours were deep and full of holes. We needed the same things, love and belonging. We filled each other's needs. It was a potent, imperfect match. You poured out passion, emotion, and opinion, and I was always full. My self esteem intact only when I was with you, and I was always with you. Whereas my love fell constantly through the holes of your self doubt, a persistent, gentle shower heading always to the drain. I wanted to save you, rescue you. I sewed up all the holes in your pockets. I mended your hurt, but your pain became trapped and it was never released. As you grew, you found friends who soothed and admired you in different ways, filling other needs that I couldn't. And I did the same. Why it was I who felt betrayed, I don't know. Neither of us betrayed the other. That crime was committed by our fathers long ago. Years of neglect for me, and your innocence was stripped clean away before you could choose your fate. Our mothers had to live with the consequences. Their choices became our lives. We were close, inextricably connected, a self-fulfilling pocket in time. Together we made sense of this wilderness. Rendezvous at 10:30 p.m. Bring significant items preserved in a plastic bag, a photo of us, a Lego figurine, 14.5p, a scribbled note clutched in my pocket. The place, the corner oak tree with its gnarled bark, the one that concealed notes under its skin and watched us play frisbee and rounders by day. My torch lit the tarmac, broken glass glinting back the dangers of night. Our 11-year-old memories buried under the townfield's turf, our secret, delicious, savoured each night, pieces of us that no one could touch, safe, then forgotten. Our paths diverged. We lived separate adult lives, compartmentalized to keep us safe. I heard you died by suicide. I remember our shared, buried memories and wish for life's significance to be purely Lego, pennies, and a photo of you and me. I put down my pen, fold this note, clutch it in my pocket, bury it under the corner oak tree.
Beautiful. It's a really, really beautiful piece, that, Kate. It's,
Thank
yeah,
you.
I can well relate to that one myself because I had a friend at school, and I'm not going to name him because his Kate's family tune in, but yeah, I went for something very,
Yeah,
very similar to he did the same. So yeah, it's
yeah.
really, really hit me quite hard, that one, actually. So, but yeah,
I know, I'm sorry, I gave a content warning because I
no, it's
know
me. It's
it,
me. I'm emotional. You're a poet. You're emotional, right, darling? Right. So
of course,
that's why.
full of
But yeah.
emotion.
Oh, we have to be right. So yeah, I know. Yeah, beautiful stuff that indeed, Kate. So I think I've definitely heard you
Thank
do
you.
that one before. Don't get me wrong. I know I've heard that
Yeah,
one before. So yeah, great stuff. So okay,
yeah.
let's move on then. Okay, bang
Let's
bang.
move on.
Number four then.
Number four. So again, this is from section 4 in the book, and it's it's called "There are as many truths as minds to pursue it. Happiness ensues." And it's the first in the section. What I'll say is that the poems tend to start quite dark and kind of lighten as we go along. So maybe I'm giving you a little bit of the darker side of the poems today. This is called Prioritize Your Addictions. Does my pain have a name? It does. It's rejection, laced with blame. I'm addicted to rejection like cocaine. It's my line in the sand, the back of my hand. It's the place where my face doesn't fit. I cover this shame over and over with love, love for the beauty in others and a niggling, wriggling, maggot-like belief I'm not worthy, buried in the heart of me. But I'll fight for the right to be here, like I've fought all my life to be seen, believed, belong. I'll overshare my vulnerability, attempting to make you care for me, and I'll expect you to do the same. When I can categorize your pain, I feel our connection is real. I'm only curious because your hurting makes me furious. Who did this to you? It would please me to release the locks chaining your heart and pinning you down like a butterfly preserved, reduced to mundanity. And your heart can't beat if constrained by your fear, and your love can't animate your dreams if sleep doesn't keep you immersed deep enough. And your life can't be lived to the extremes of your joy if your boundaries are smaller than your happiness. Does my pain have a name? It does. It's perfection, laced with shame. I'm addicted to perfection like caffeine. It's the migraine flashing zigzag lights in my brain. It's the place where my face doesn't fit and I don't see it. I hide the shame with unconditional love, love for the wonder of others and a niggling, wriggling, maggot-like belief I'm never worthy. But I'll fight for the right to be heard, especially in places where my face doesn't fit. I fought all my life to be seen, believed, belong, but I wonder if I don't hurt, am I really here?
Oh, and the ending's really strong there. Very, very strong ending with that one. I think it does it when you look at internal base. I think part of the human psyche is, I think you've got to look at pain makes you what you are as a person. I think sometimes.
Yeah.
I think as well as most poets I know, and I can't remember if I asked you this last time, Kate, when as a poet, I think a lot of poetry to begin with comes from trauma anyway, doesn't it really? The first starting point.
Well, it feels very cathartic and healing, doesn't it, to write
Yeah.
poetically? But I can honestly say I've always loved poetry. I've always had this kind of playfulness with words. So I think that combined with, some significant traumatic experiences, but a love of life. I mean, I love people, as you can hear. I'm kind of trying to balance the two in that last poem.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Now, like, so people are wondering, we first got talking, oh, yikes, this is showing how long ago it was now. If you think about it, I first saw you read and you saw me over lockdown, didn't we? And that's
that's
like
right.
4 years ago
I
now, wasn't
know.
it?
I
It's just
know.
terrifying stuff. But yeah, you do
Madness.
like, you look back at your work, you've always been a truth seeker, you, Kate, you think your work, you're
Yeah.
telling the truth in your work. And I think I say is I'm surprised it took you 4 years to get your book out, book ready, really.
You know what though, Andy? It was like, for me, I write because I can't not write, and I share because I love the connection it gives us as people and poets. And people were saying, where can I get that? How can I get a copy of that? And I'd be like, oh, nowhere. And it was almost like I need to really gather this together because it's a little bit out of sight, out of mind. Once I've written a piece, I kind of forget that I've done it.
Yeah,
So it was important to do for me, and I think for others who were following. We were following each other's journeys during the pandemic, weren't we?
yeah,
Watching and listening to each
yeah.
other.
I
So
think we were,
yeah,
and it feels like another world, back at it now, really, because like, that was arguably the beginning of your journey just before, really, wasn't
it
it?
was. It was. I'd been on open mics before, but uh, very infrequently because I was kind of working really hard and I was bringing my
Mm.
family up, raising a family, and yeah, I went to some in Liverpool and some in Manchester, but not that often. Yeah,
Yeah, I'd been doing all that in person before lockdown, to be honest with you. I knew of
yeah,
Zoom, I knew of it. I'd been on a test call with somebody I'm not going to name and helping him test out Zooms. And I remember talking to one of his students who lived in
yeah,
Texas and somebody else that lived in I was like Rio at that point. So I've been podcasting, but I hadn't really used Zoom like we're on now
yeah.
until like lockdowns. It was a change really in the world, and we learned a lot about yourself over that, didn't we? Really, so
Incredible. It was like an intense. It almost like well, it was, wasn't it? It was a crisis situation, and we were all trying to make sense of it. And every poet that I heard just brought something unique and different. And I think we all sort of like in a crucible of learning, kind of bounced off each other and created works of, poetic art that a lot of people now are starting to put into books, which is amazing, actually.
yeah, no, I agree with you completely. And you're a fantastic example of that. So right, let's
Thank you.
anyway, let's move on to poem number 5.
Okay, so I like to precursor this poem just to say to people it's a golden shovel. So it's taken from a phrase, and I developed it in a workshop. And the phrase is from Anne Frank's diaries, and it is, I can shake off everything as I write. My sorrows disappear, my courage is reborn. And this poem is called Who Am I? Who am I? In all this world of possibility, how can I have been born? I would shake my head in disbelief. The odds are off. 1 in 400 trillion. Everything else more worthy than me, as I'm left wondering, why was I born at all? You rejected me, so I write myself into the world through my creativity. I gain agency over my sorrows. My many melancholies disappear, and gradually I look forward to my tomorrows with inspired courage, growing from determination that this is the only way to stake my claim and be reborn. There you go.
Great ending that. Really, again, that's a really good last piece of this little set, actually, that Kate. So, really, yeah,
Thank you.
she's fascinating, fascinating. Even really with someone like Anne Frank, like she couldn't have anticipated at the time, like her work would have been still talked about the way it was, what,
Ah,
80 odd years later.
incredible,
Yeah,
incredible. And a year ago, I think it was actually to the month, I went to Amsterdam and I've never been so moved, Andy, by going to the house that she was in and where the family lived, and it felt so real. And it obviously is real, but as though you were there at the time that she was there, and her words were there at the museum as well, and it was just incredibly moving. So I wrote that piece before I went to see her house, but I think it has even more meaning after I've been.
yeah,
So
no, I can understand you completely with that. It
incredible.
does. I've read the book, obviously, the base of the diary, Anne Frank. And I've read
Yeah.
there's a second one, is it Diary of a Young Girl or something? I'm sure I've read that one as well.
Um, I'll admit I've not read them, so I don't know.
Yeah, but they're
Uh,
fascinating books. Absolutely, really
yeah,
heartbreaking, John.
yeah.
That's why they do it justice that piece. It's brilliant stuff indeed, Kate. So
Thank you.
really, really good stuff. And I can wholeheartedly recommend the book to everybody here after knowing Kate for the last 5 years now, terrifyingly. Now, obviously, Kate, we have to tell people
Yes.
where they can get hold of the book, then, can't they? First of
Oh
all,
my goodness. Yeah, we do. So, if you want to get it from Amazon and you're happy to do that, you can go and get it there for it's £10. If you want to get it direct from me, pay a little bit more for postage, but you don't want to feed the coffers of Amazon so much. I'm happy to sign a copy and send it in the post to people. So DM me on any of my social media channels and I'll pick it up and send you a book.
brilliant. Now, obviously, I have to ask you,
Oh,
obviously, last. Oh, yes,
I
ladies
should
first.
mention, because Ashley would be frustrated if I didn't, my publisher, Poetic Edge Publishers, Ashley Edge, you can also message them directly as well.
Perfect. Yeah. Track Ashley down with that because Ashley's put a lot of work into helping Kate get this book out and it's tremendous.
Huge amount. I really must give Ashley the credit for curating and editing such amazing job they did. And the title of the book came from there's a poem in the book called Unbroken, and it was Ashley that recommended the title. So it's in
Yeah.
honor of Ashley.
Respect to Ash, our friend, for that one, definitely, because they did a
Yeah,
great job with this. Like I said, they put a lot of work into this book straight away, and you
yeah.
can tell from it. It's a labour of love. What
It
is
is.
a tremendous labour of love. Now, obviously, Kate, before we wrap up then, have you got any
Yes.
other readings coming up you want people to be aware
Oh.
of?
Um, well, not yet. I'm open to doing some more. I did a lot in October, and then because I'm working in November on doing spoken word commissions and that kind of thing. I've got a little bit into other work at the moment, but I'm looking for stuff for next year. If anyone wants me to come along and do a set, I'd love to.
Definitely with that one. Good luck with that. Now, we better give Prickly Pear open mic, hadn't we? A quick plug as well.
We
So
better
otherwise,
had.
Ash will beat you up, and I don't want Ash as an enemy.
You haven't got Ash as an enemy at
We
all. I
love
mean,
we love Ash as a friend, right? So I don't want to forget them.
yes.
Okay, so
So, yeah, come along. If you are um, a writer looking for or a poet, a spoken word artist, come along to Prickly Pear. It's the second Sunday of every month. We alternate between having an open mic where everybody gets between 3 and 5 minutes, depending on how many people are there, and then we have features. We haven't announced our next feature, but I'm dead excited for who it is. What we do is showcase poets who are neurodivergent or have impairments of some kind, which mean that they need to come to an accessible online Zoom, which is what we are. And we love the space that we create. It's safe and it's welcoming. And yeah, we're every month, second Sunday. Join us.
Brilliant. Come along and join. Yeah, I can recommend it certainly because I
Yeah.
saw a kind of cousin of mine, Matthew Nicholson, there a bit on.
Yes.
Yeah, I love Matthew. I said,
Matthew
geez.
was brilliant.
Now I'm giving my real surname away here, but like it's Matthew only lives about 20 miles away from me and my wife, and
Yeah.
met him in person about 18 months ago.
Yeah.
And Matthew, what am I mentioning this? I have never seen so many charity shops in Leeds. I
He
must
knows
have,
where everything is.
yeah, there was about 30. There was. I thought by the end of it, we were exhausted.
That's amazing.
That's why I've
Yeah,
written.
well,
Anyway,
I think our features are still out there, and Matthew featured on Prickly Pear. So obviously, if they let us record, if they're okay to record, we kind of let those recordings out into the wild for others to enjoy them as well. So
yeah, indeed, some brilliant idea, Kate. Okie dokie, Kate. Hang around. I need to quick
yes,
urge you off microphone anyway, but it's been a pleasure. It
thank
seems
you.
like ages since the last time I spoke to you, and it's sometimes life just flies by, doesn't it?
It
Right, you
does.
realize so
Yeah.
it's been a pleasure. So I look forward to book number two. Right.
Oh my goodness.
Not that
Thanks,
I'm putting,
Andy.
not that I'm putting
There's
you
a
under
pressure
pressure.
now.
Take care
Oh,
anyway, everybody. As Don Callis over at AWS says, of course, stay over, stay safe, and we'll see you all next